Hi, sis.
Hey, hey, what's up, girl?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm very good.
I'm glad. I'm glad you're good,
hmm
bro.
How's your
I'm
week
so
been?
excited about this episode.
Me too. It's
It's gonna be
been a
good.
hot minute, you know?
Indeed. It's been a hot minute.
hmm
I'm a great movie selection though. I'm sure it was I don't think it was my idea. I'm pretty sure it was your idea.
But I mean, it's been a long time coming. It's a bit of an older movie compared to what we usually review,
Yeah.
but super excited to get into it. Today we're going to be talking about past lives. It's a 2023 movie that Mary's gonna give us the synopsis for. So take it away, sis.
Wait, before we get into that,
Yeah.
what's new in life?
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, I am living. Yes, that is a fair question. What is happening? Same thing with every episode. I feel like daylight savings is kicking my butt
Yeah.
already, and not very happy about that. So now that the day feels limited, I think I'm trying to pack in a lot more things to do throughout the day. Like, I'm not very consistent with exercising right now, but I'm trying to do 10,000 steps a day, which kind of breaks up my day a bit. And then continuing tennis after my lessons, so that's been a bit fun. And oh, I played tennis at East High the other day.
I was literally gonna say
Yeah,
you have to
I have
bring
to
that
share that. Yeah.
high. The High School Musical high school guys. What are the
Yes.
perks of living in Utah?
Literally.
SLC. Yeah.
SLC gang, like it's interesting because it had no significance to me whatsoever. Uh but I knew to a lot of people it would, so I took a lot of pictures. That yeah, didn't make sense, but I did it, so that was
I'm
interesting.
glad you did. No, I was lit up. And then
Yeah.
the person sitting next to me was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Bro, you
You
don't
don't
get
get it. Yeah,
it.
you don't get it.
You're not gonna get it."
Yeah. But how's it
That's
going with
awesome.
you, sister?
Things are pretty good. First of all, I would say that you're a lot more consistent than most with the 10,000 steps a day.
Oh,
So let me give you your flowers there.
thank you. I
You
really
are
appreciate it.
extremely consistent. If we collected data for people our age, girl. Anyways,
The 20
how
people
am
we
I?
know. Yeah.
The 20, yeah. Actually,
hmm
20. I'm Olam, to be honest. Anyways, so we'll just have to
hmm
create synthetic data with ChatGPT.
Is
Anyways,
that how you do your research? Is that how you've been doing your little research?
my little data science brain just kicked in.
Sorry.
Can't pause it. Can't stop me. Can't stop me. Um,
Bro.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
hmm
Things are getting a lot lighter, I feel like, at work.
hmm
October was a tough one. It was very busy. November, I haven't felt this chill since it's been months. Um, there are big projects that are ending and then new
hmm
projects coming, so it's like new energy, which I'm really liking. What else is going on? I had a crazy 3 days where I removed my wisdom teeth
Yes.
and I felt like I was on a cleanse of some sort. Like I read like I think I finished like a full book. I was almost done with a nonfiction book. I picked up my crocheting that I haven't done in I don't know how many weeks.
This last year.
I thought so many deep thoughts. Like I called you. I talked about like 3 business ideas that I had.
Guys, this is what
And
happens when you take days off. Like,
this is what happens when you
yeah,
get off screens and just
literally.
like yeah, and just stop
Look,
thinking about work.
yeah.
It was
hmm
very eye opening. And Bro, I don't think I even told you this off camera, but I'm going to start pick up soccer next week. Did
No,
I tell
wait,
you?
we
I'm
actually,
excited.
you actually,
Actually,
okay, wait, is that the league we talk
actually,
about?
yeah, actually, I picked a
Okay.
place,
Okay, okay.
and I like the first week of my wisdom teeth thing. It was like I was not supposed to really get my heart rate up and all that kind of stuff. So I'm
Mm,
gonna let it heal this week. I'm also going to Blacksburg next week. So once I come back and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff, I think I'm gonna start. And
Bro,
I
I'm
found a
so
friend that'll
excited.
do it with me, so I feel
Okay.
very lucky. And I'm extremely scared. I'm like, I I love it. Like I'm so scared that it
Yeah.
isn't gonna hit or like it's not
Mm,
gonna be the way that the way it used to make me feel. I'm afraid. But at the same time, I do need to be realistic in the sense that it's never gonna be the way that it used to be.
yeah.
But I am really excited. And even physically speaking, it's going to be a journey. And I have accepted that.
Yeah.
But if I stick with it, I
Yeah.
think my life will
Yeah,
change.
no, well.
I'm
That's
really
ex
excited.
Yeah. Would
A
you
lot
be
of new things on the
playing
horizon.
every weekend or how's that going?
It would probably be a weekday,
Oh, okay.
but it'll be once a week, maybe like Tuesdays probably.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is exciting.
That's nice.
What else is new? That's kind of it, I think.
Yeah. Um, well, excited for the holidays, I guess. Thanksgiving
Yeah,
is right around the
yeah.
corner.
I'm
Um,
excited.
hope everybody has like anybody who needs to travel, their flights don't get canceled or delayed. Yeah, airports are a crazy time right now, so not
Indeed.
not happy about that, but you know, it's kind of looking up a bit aside from it getting darker sooner. Like life's all right, I
Yeah, no,
guess.
Mariah Carey officially said it's time. She posted, so
No, bro, people
it's
are already
time.
decorating with
Yeah.
Christmas like themed decorations. I'm like, Thanksgiving is in a month, guys. Like,
Yeah.
let's calm down a bit, you know?
Yeah, like I was talking to my brother today. I was like, "So, do you guys do like Christmas parties?" He was like, "Mary,
Yeah,
it's early November.
literally.
Like, I don't know. I don't know, and I will not be knowing soon." I was like, "Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Whoops,
Okay,
sorry, my bad.
okay.
You're like,
Yeah,
so you're not the other half. You're not the fun half.
yeah." I'm
I'm
like,
like, me neither.
"It's fine." Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just like you're everything that's going on. I forget that it's still early November
No,
because of
every
all the
yeah.
Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's
I was
I
even
love
thinking, I
the
was like, oh my
excitement.
gosh, I need to start putting a little money aside for presents because tis the season. I'm like, oh my god. But
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, it's still early November. Okay, okay.
But like no, but you know, so my sister is coming to visit me during Christmas and
Exciting.
I did a big girl thing the other day and bought her flight tickets. Ouch, but like love it.
Gosh,
Yeah, big girl things. Look at
oh
me
my
getting flights.
gosh, that's
Yeah.
such a big deal, bro.
No, literally, I saw my bank statement and I was like, oh, makes sense, makes sense.
You have a dependent,
Yeah,
right?
basically, I'm raising a child by myself, guys.
Oh
It's
my
hard. Yeah. A
goodness.
single mom who works alone. Yeah, anywho's, that's me. Um, but no, like it's interesting because I'm like, okay, but the thing is we've been planning this for a bit, so like I was kind of preparing for it, but I was like, while she's here, I'm gonna take her do this and that and like Christmas gift shopping and this, and I'm like, and it's she's coming a week after my birthday, and like I'm like, I'm probably gonna get myself something for my birthday. So like I'm like December is gonna be a month. It's gonna be a month. And
It is gonna be a month.
yeah. So like I need to mentally just like check out and accept whatever is coming my way and be like, that's fine. Pay for it for the rest of the year. But like um it should be fine. But super
It will be
exciting.
great. So, okay,
Yes.
let's move on to the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so past lives. Let me read the synopsis and then we'll get into some of
Mhm.
our reactions and questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So, it is called Past Lives Again. It's a 2023 movie directed by Celine Song, who is also the director of Materialist. So we have mentioned on this pod before. So I think it's safe to say we're fans,
Mm.
and we might in fact just follow her work for this. So, anyways, synopsis: Nora and Haesung, two deeply connected childhood friends, are wrest apart after Nora's family emigrates from South Korea. Decades later, they are reunited for one fateful week as they confront destiny, love, and the choices that make a life. Would you have anything to add to that?
Um, I think that was a good summary, and we can just get
Okay.
into like breaking it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We could start by mentioning the like main characters from the movie, I guess, just to give
okay,
some
yeah,
context. Yeah. So the female lead is Na Young, that's her Korean name, and her American name is Nora. And she is the main lead. Hae Sung is her childhood friend slash lover from Korea, and Arthur is her husband
her
from
current husband,
her
who is
yeah,
a white man.
yes,
Yes.
Jewish man from New
Yes.
York. Yes. Okay.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yes. Okay.
So it
Mhm.
the opening is fully in Korean. So it's when Haesung and Nora. I'm just gonna refer to her as Nora for the pod.
Yeah.
Um, were so they grew up in Korea. They were the best of friends. He was literally her emotional support. Like said she's notoriously a crybaby. He was always there for her, never judged her. Cute little couple. It
Yeah.
was not like they weren't lovers, but they loved each other
They had
as
crushes on each
children.
other.
Yeah,
Actually, I want to start
crushes.
with this though. Like
Okay.
in the very opening scene, it starts with people kind of observing Nora, like at the future point in time, which is 2023 or 2024, I guess.
Okay,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Opening scene. Opening scene,
opening
yeah.
scene. I thought that was significant. That's why I'm mentioning it. You know, people
Okay.
are looking at them. Nora's husband, Arthur, is sitting right next to her, and Haesung at this point in time is like visiting Nora in New York, and he's on her right and Arthur is on her left. And, people are kind of like, who's the husband? Who's the boyfriend? Or who is with Nora? And, her
Yeah.
body language is confusing. She's fully looking at Haesung and her back is to her husband Arthur, and she would just occasionally talk to Arthur. So it kind of starts out a little confusing. You're like, who is she with?
Yeah. They were like,
Yes.
is he her brother? Yeah. It did start in a very in an ambiguous, like, it already gets you thinking like, how does she feel about these people from the
Yes.
from the jump, yeah.
Yes. But
So yeah, so she immigrates in when she was young. I thought I also felt that the scene where they had her and her she has a younger sister, Nora, or is it older sister?
a younger sister, she has a
Younger sister, and they had to come up with their English names.
yes.
That was interesting. It's like I don't know, it felt like they were coming up with new personas almost. Like
I That makes sense, but as far as I'm aware, in Korea, a lot of people do have English names because it's
yeah,
also I don't know the history behind it, but it is very common or like it's not uncommon to have an English name.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And but as a like if you were 11 years old
Mm.
and you've never been to the US and your parents are like come up with a new name, I'd be
Yeah,
like,
that was
where the
interesting.
heck are we going? Yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah,
what's
but
going on here?
you know what's interesting? It didn't feel like Nora or her sister were confused about this. They were actually I
Yeah.
did write something on just like almost indifferent. Like they kind of accepted it. They were like, okay, I guess this is happening. And just like,
Yeah. It was kind of like, okay, this is part of the routine. It's part of
yeah,
the package.
yeah,
And it was like her sister was was certain about what her English name was gonna be, But Nora herself was, she
A little
was,
confused.
yeah, she needed a little more time. She needed a little more
Hmm.
suggestions. Imagine if she had ChatGPT at that time.
Bro, Mary, you know what? Your genius is almost frightening sometimes. You're
No!
right.
I would have given her, bro, imagine the paralysis that she would feel. It would have given her 200 options.
It was made for people like Nora at that point.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Target audience, for real.
Yeah. Anywho, so yeah, they immigrated to Canada, I believe. And then later, she moved to New York.
Yeah.
Um, and so
Okay,
the
notes here.
next, okay, go,
One
go,
note.
go.
Yeah, so before, while she was in Korea, obviously she had this thing with Haesung, like their parents knew, they went on their little dates and everything. And one scene that kind of stood out to me was when Nora was sharing that she was immigrating to Canada with her classmates, as and she was kind of like, yeah, so I'm going soon. And
Yeah.
Haesung is like, he seemed to have been affected basically like to the point where he couldn't talk to her anymore. You know what I'm saying? He went nonverbal, basically.
Yeah.
And they were walking back home as they usually do, and they didn't share a single word to each other. And just as she was going to her street where they were like separating, and she was just about to go on with her day. Like she was literally like, yeah, I'm gonna marry him. And she just almost went without saying much.
It's
And
giving avoiding avoidance attachment style.
it's giving she's not even clocking the fact that she's leaving. It's giving dissociation. Like she's not processing anything. But like not in a trauma way, but it's like, okay, I guess this is the next step. I think her crush on him was not as significant as we thought it was. I think that's the takeaway for me. Because Hae-sung actually was deeply affected, and as they were going their separate ways, he was like, "Hey, goodbye," and she kind of was just like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." And again, obviously, I think where you're getting at is like a few, well, at this point, was it 8 years later or 12 years later?
Yeah, more than, I think it
Some,
was 12.
yeah, 12-ish years later, she moves to New York to be a writer and finds out that Hae-sung has been looking for her through her dad's Facebook account. And she didn't even remember him. Like, she was talking to her mom, reminiscing about people from her past, and she was like, "What's
That
that
was a
guy's
cute
name?"
scene.
But, like, I mean, okay, so context. I watched this movie twice. Once when it first came out in 2023, which at that point I was like, I do not understand anything about the movie. Now it's slightly different. But now looking back, I'm like, just knowing the ending, right? She didn't even remember the guy. This guy has been actively looking for her for the past however many years. And she's like, oh, that guy that I had like a crush on as a kid, what's his name? Like it didn't match up to me. Or like it doesn't necessarily have to, but considering how affected she was by him, I guess, at the end, I kind of just was like, it's fair that someone who's been actively seeking her for many years, you know, would want to have something with her, but she a person who forgot who his name even was or is.
So I think this is where we're going to start differing in
Oh, love, love, love,
opinions.
love. Please. Yeah.
So I, going back to the scene when they were kids and they were going on that walk that there's like their routine walk where they
Yeah.
walk home together and then she takes her little street and then they separate. I think that for him, knowing that she was going to the US, or I guess she was going to Canada, I don't. I think for him, it fully clocked that. I think he thought that he might never leave Korea. Like for him, it was the end. Like he
Mm.
maybe thought he was never going to see her again. And for her, I think the whole idea of leaving your home country and never, and like completely switching lives to the point where you're switching your name is overwhelming to the point where maybe she, like you said, she was somewhat dissociated, but I also think she was like, you know, I might see him again. Like I feel like for her, it didn't feel as definitive as it did for him, because she was
Mm,
kind of in a state of who knows what's going. Like he's like, oh, suddenly I'm going to America.
yeah.
Maybe he'll come to America too one day or something like that. Or
Mm,
sorry, Canada.
yeah.
So that's my take on that scene. So
Mm,
you referred to the the last scene, which is essentially
mm,
where they do reunite in New York, and she starts crying after she says goodbye to him, and I
yes.
feel like it's not necessarily because she loved him, but that's a little sneak peek for when we get to the end. But I don't
Mm,
think it's because, so the fact that when she was like whatever in her early 20s in New York, like, oh my gosh, who was that guy again? I feel like she didn't mourn him, and therefore it didn't leave a huge scar like it did for him. And I think he continued the yearning and was like, maybe trying to defy the impossible. Like, how do I find her? And I think she never had, like, it didn't impact her so much. And so it didn't stay with her. That's why she was kind of like, oh, what was that guy's name again?
mm,
And so, yeah, that's kind of my take on that scene. But yeah, of course, they were definitely impacted in different ways by their separation.
mm. Interesting. Yeah, that's a very interesting take on it, honestly. But again, referring to the end,
Okay.
I still do think she reacted in a more intense manner compared to like, and this is just my opinion, right? Compared to how their interactions were like executed on the film. Just from what I saw there, I'm like,
Me too, honestly.
you did a little too much. You did a little too much. Respectfully, I personally would not do all that, but again,
That is too funny, bro.
I mean,
Anyways, we'll get there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I have my
yeah,
theory. I have my
yeah,
theory.
yeah, okay.
But anyways, so she's on Facebook and she's like, "What was that guy's name again?" And then her mom reminds her. She finds him. She DMs him on Facebook, I think.
Yeah,
And then they Skype actually, which was
yes.
so it was a throwback. I was like, "Oh my god, Skype."
Yeah, no. And the old phones, like the older models, like, it
I
was
know.
pretty nice, yeah.
So they started Skyping. And it was a really cute. The first Skype, it was really innocent, and something about Haesung, he's a vulnerable man in a good way. Like he's not one to hide his emotions. He's not one to like over share or like burst out or anything like that. But he's like, I missed you. Like he was very, first of all, he's just a very soft and sensitive man, of course, but he says what he thinks. He's the definition of if he wanted to, he would. And I love that about him.
Yes.
And I think she was also very open. Like, she's a little more, again, we're the avoidant counterpart here.
Mm-hmm.
But she was also very happy to see him and excited, and it turned into very frequent Skypes. And also note that the time difference is not it's not
Ideal.
easy to coordinate. So like she would be staying up late, he would be waking up early, and so even with that obstacle, they continued to stay in touch.
Yes. And they
Yeah.
were never officially in a relationship. Like they were in the
Yeah.
talking stage, but um Nora kind of ended it, I think, after a while, because she was like, "Are you gonna come see me anytime soon?" Which Haesung, I think, was okay with doing the long distance, like different time zone dating-ish situation, and she clearly was not loving that. Um, and Nora kind of was like, yeah, maybe let's take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think he didn't go to New York?
Honestly, I mean, he did state his reasons. He had to go to school
Yeah.
to learn Mandarin. Like, obviously, for both of them, I believe their careers are something they did value and wanted to put work into. And, like she wanted to be a great writer, potentially win a Tony, Pulitzer, you know,
Yeah.
like some other prize that I forgot about.
Prestige, yeah. That comes with the
Yeah,
American dream,
of
basically. Yeah.
course. And he
Yeah.
also wanted to, he had this ambition of learning Mandarin and because it would somehow help with his job. And he's also a smart guy. Apparently, he was going to a good college. He had all these things going for him. And I don't think prioritizing a relationship was at the forefront, at least for both of them at the beginning, but more so, Hey Song, he kind of was like, okay, while maintaining my lifestyle, it's good to have somebody to talk to as opposed to Nora, I believe, was kind of had the more American view of it,
Yeah.
where she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so like we need to grow together, like career and relationship together ish,
Yeah. She was
Um,
like, I am trying to make moves. Like
yeah,
I my life you're pausing my life. And also I agree
mm,
with you with the American perspective,
mm,
but also it's a it happens with men and women all the time where women are like, I don't have a lot of time to
yeah, mess
have this
around,
emotional
yeah,
affair.
yeah,
And whereas men don't really have, or
mm,
many men don't have that the clock in
time,
their head of
yeah,
like, oh, I want to have kids by this time or whatever.
mm,
And so
mm.
that wasn't explicitly stated, but I'm sure that, I mean, you
She did that mental
can't,
math,
yeah, even me now,
yeah,
you know, it's, you know, after a while, I would get to a point where it's like, you know, it's,
yeah, how
the
worth it is it?
casual can only go long for, yeah, for so
Yeah,
long.
yeah, yeah.
And so it's, yeah, I think that definitely played a role, but it did make me sad. I was like, because it's interesting where um my, like, I only watched it once, but as I was watching it, my idea changed. At
Mm,
first, I was like, "How selfish of her." I was like,
mm,
they're clearly both mutually benefiting, and I
yeah,
can say him more than her,
yeah,
because he also has this thing where he's like constantly kind of doubting himself, where he thinks that he hasn't reached his potential, and
mm,
there's more to achieve, and like he's behind. And I'm sure comparing himself to Nora, it doesn't help. But I think he definitely benefited a lot from that relationship, and nothing went wrong. That's the thing.
yeah,
Even now, it's when it comes to relationships. Now it's like, it's not that. And again, this is from relationship to relationship, but not there. We don't need something wrong to happen in order for you to know that something doesn't serve you.
word, okay, yes,
And if you asked me this like when I was young, I would be like, "What's wrong with you?"
yeah,
And honestly, again, my first reaction, I was like, "How selfish." Like,
mm,
just talk to him. What's wrong with talking to him? But throughout the movie, and I feel like another thing about the movie, there's a lot of silence. Like, there are a lot of just like shots of them walking, or the New York skyline and stuff like that. And I think that really allowed us to process some of the crazy things that are
yeah,
happening.
mm,
It is definitely a slow burner. So if y'all are against that, I'm not a big slow burner person, but it was
yeah.
very a deep cutting movie. It really was a deep
But
cutting
it
movie.
also was a shorter movie compared to like how long movies
I
are
agree.
nowadays. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because it followed three people, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but with time I was like, now, especially looking back, I'm like, I applaud her for putting herself first.
Mm. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Honestly, I didn't I thought of it as more of, because like again at that point she's like in her younger 20s, I think
Yeah.
she's
Yeah, she's like not
yeah,
established. She's living
yeah.
in tiny
Hmm.
apartments in New York. Yeah.
But you know, she's doing the math of like, okay, if I can't even see you for the next year and a half, you know, and we have to continue doing this like meeting at odd hours, you know, like yeah, it did not
Yeah.
seem,
It's work. It's work.
it's a lot of work,
Any
yeah.
relationship is work.
Mm-hmm.
And French, not even romantic, even friendships, there's work that you have to put in.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like you have to decide which you want to maintain and which you don't.
Mm.
It's an active effort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah,
But before we
during
move on,
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, sis.
Mm-hmm.
So you came in your teenage years to the
Yeah,
US. Did
yeah.
you feel any parallels with her
You know, it
journey?
was interesting because I mean, when she immigrated, I think she was like 12 or 11. Like
Yeah,
she was
she was younger, yeah.
yeah. When I came, I was 17, so you know, I kind of had a more like serious understanding of what was going on. And I still kind of was like, you know, I didn't know I was moving to the US until maybe 3 weeks before I actually had to, you know, all of a sudden it was like, oh, we're going to the embassy for an interview, and we passed, and it's like, so we're wrapping everything up in 3 weeks and we're leaving because at that point we were already late to the American school calendar year. So yeah, it kind of was like, oh, I'm moving. And I said goodbye to everyone. And there was some kind of peril in a sense that I did not see it as anything big. In a sense of like, I was like,
Like
okay, I guess
Nora.
this is happening. Yeah. But like it wasn't, I don't think I wouldn't say I didn't process it though. That's why I think she kind of like they weren't on the same page,
Yeah.
you know, when they were younger, because I came here and I kind of was like, like a lot of people were like, oh, like adjusting. I missed life back home. I kind of was like, this is my new reality now, and I moved on. You know? So, I mean, there were moments of like, that was fast when I was back in Addis. But then once I moved here, I was like, so next step. What's gonna, you know, it kind of was like, this is my life now. And I thought maybe I wasn't processing it and eventually I'd have like some kind of like meltdown about it or like some kind of breakdown, but it didn't happen. Like I really truly just was like, it's gonna happen. It happened. Okay. You know, which doesn't apply to a lot of things in life. But in this specific like immigration scenario, like we both kind of were like, "Oh, okay, I guess this is happening." And it just happened. But also similarly, you moved here fully when you were 18. If so, how did you feel like your experience was more like on the other side?
Much. No, I mean not the young phases, but
Yeah.
so just for the audience, the movie in my head is kind of broken up into three, where it's like, okay, before she moved, and then the time that she first reconnected with Hae Sung, and then when Hae Sung finally went to the US, went to New York. The third phase, I feel so deeply,
Mm,
where
yeah.
she's fully established. Like I'm not really at the phase of like, oh my god, that guy from school. Like I think I've kind of passed that.
Mm,
But like the adulthood phase where it's like, okay, like there's me now and there was me then. Like I feel like my transition phase was in college. But I think it's also
mm,
just part of adulthood where whatever country I'm in, I'm going to feel this transition. Like it's not really about that. But because I left like when I finished high school and then college ended and then you move again, like I feel like they're very hard lines. But I feel like, and again, like growing up, I kind of felt like I kind of had a mix of both. Of course, primarily in Ethiopia, but I was like, I always felt like I had a flavor of the US. But now I'm like, okay, let me also add, I'm so jealous of this fictional character because her, I don't speak Korean, but her Korean seems perfect.
Yeah, she's pretty
And
good.
my Amharic is deteriorating by bi-weekly, actually.
I don't think so, but I mean,
Personally,
you'd know
personally.
best, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I also, when I wrote your little birthday message, I wrote a little Amharic at the end. I was like, if this is wrong,
That's it.
I'm never gonna hear the end of it. Anyways,
There's a tiny part of me that really hopes you did something wrong because I would love to make fun of you the same way you do to me. You know.
so you're not going to be receiving it. Anyways,
So
moving
I
on.
was joking. Literally take a joke. Oh my God.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
So, no, I feel it very deeply. Like where, okay, so now I can transition into kind of my theory where
Mhm.
I feel like Haesung represents her alternate life, her the life that didn't happen. It's more like I feel like while Haesung was in New York, so finally for the audience, he did actually make it to New York 12 years after they decided to stop speaking. And I love the scene where they first reunited. I think that's my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Mm,
It was so. I mean, first of all, when I think about reuniting with someone that I haven't seen in 2 years, it makes me nervous. Let
yeah.
alone, I don't even know, 30 years? No, maybe a little less than 30 years, 20 something years. It was so pure. It felt childlike again, like when we actually saw them in the first place together when they were kids. It was so like he was fidgety, like very typical man. Like that's
Mm,
what a man would do even in real life. He was very nervous. And she was just like marveling at him. You know, it wasn't like, "Oh my god, hi. Oh my gosh, how's your flight?" Like
mm,
it was like
you're here.
she really was like she it's like again, I felt like it was almost like a mirror. Like he was a potential version of her life. And she was just so excited to see him, and I loved that. They very few, little dialogue, but it was so
Yeah.
nice.
It was powerful. They're
Yeah,
like the way she was like, "Oh my God, you're here." And this is the grown version of you. And
yeah,
again, like thinking about what could have been in those like split seconds and accepting the fact that it will potentially never be,
yeah.
all at once.
Did you think they were gonna kiss?
Well, I was no, no. I mean, I can see I feel like he was more how do I put it? He was more hopeful than she was in a sense that he I can see him physically like imagining a life with her as he
Yeah,
was like hers is more of like, oh, you grew and you look different, and there's hints of what could have been in her reaction, but he full on was like,
you're the one that
I
got
could have,
away.
yeah, yes, she was the one that got away for him
Yeah,
fully.
yeah.
Um,
And going back to what we said earlier, I
yeah.
feel like she kind of again, I don't know if it's a trauma response. Maybe that's a little too heavy of a label, but she kind of stopped thinking about all the has been stuff. Like again, even when she left, she was kind of relaxed about it. And I
Mhm.
think when he came, she started maybe thinking about all those thoughts that she stopped thinking about, or that she.
Mhm.
I don't want to. I don't want to push like mental problems on her or anything, but maybe
Yeah.
things that I don't know if it's like pushed down or things that she just straight up her brain just stopped processing. But I think like you said, like when she was like, "Oh my god, you grew up," like she never processed that Korea is still there and things are still
Mm-hmm.
happening and people are
For
still growing
sure.
up.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely unlocked something in her. I think that was the beginning of course, the closing scene where she when she released all those emotions.
Mm. I kind of want to ask you something important here, and I think we should start mentioning it. How do you feel like Nora and Arthur's dynamic was in this movie? Like, what did you think of that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for context for the audience, she is married at this point. When he comes to New York, she is married. And he has a girlfriend, right?
Well, they were on a
His
break.
son. They're on a break.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Arthur and Nora met at a writer's retreat. They so he's of course also a writer. And then they were sleeping together, and then eventually they went back to the city together, and they moved in together, got married, etc. I think that initially, of course, given Haesung is, he's a very handsome man, and he represents her past, and there's clearly a little bit of history. I was not rooting for them, for her and her
Mhm.
husband, but because I also was worried that she married him because we also didn't get a lot of context into
Mhm.
their relationship. But I
Mhm.
was like, did she just marry him because she wanted a husband, or does she
Mhm.
love him, kind of thing?
Yeah, I
Which
agree.
now that I'm saying it out loud seems super judgmental, but that's a thought that I had.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but throughout the film, I had more it was like an increasing respect for Arthur because he allowed her to feel her feelings and go through her journey pretty in a pretty mature way. Like he did have his like there was a scene when they were in bed together and he was asking her all these questions where he was realizing like, oh my gosh, um do you love me? Do you want to be with me? Am I your plan B? Very valid, honestly.
Mhm.
Very valid questions. And I think even her response, like she could have flipped out and been like, "What are you trying to say?" And I was like, they
Yeah.
actually have a very healthy relationship.
Very healthy. Very healthy. Yes.
Very healthy.
Importance emotions.
He asked his insecure, like his question. He asked his questions that are bringing him insecurity. She responded calmly. Maybe not every answer was what he wanted, but the fact that he felt the space to kind of be a kid a little bit and whine a little bit, which was valid. She gave him that
Mhm.
space, and he gave her space to explore this thing without
Yeah.
judgment. And by the end of the movie, I was like, they are, I don't know if meant to be or whatever, but I'm like, they are a very strong couple, honestly.
That is, yeah, it's very important to know because obviously, like you mentioned, Arthur does have this insecurity of, like, he did say something, and this is not a direct quote, but he said, I don't even understand the language you dream in. Apparently she sleep
Bro,
talks in Korean. And he mentioned that to her. He was like, you sleep talk in Korean. She's like, oh, I didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, it's, just the fact that he doesn't understand what language she thinks in or dreams in, he knows that there is that much of a gap between them. He could never fully know her.
yeah.
And Haesung might fully know her. And obviously, he's kind of like, why are you with me? Somebody who might not be able to fully understand or know you. And Haesung is there. Like, it's the perfect story. You guys were childhood sweethearts. I'm just the
Yeah.
middleman. Like, I just happen to be a part of
A
the story, but
transition,
a
yeah.
transition, basically.
That was
And
very powerful.
that was very
I
powerful.
totally agree with you. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was more like, am I. He wasn't even threatened by Haesung, like his, like in a physical manner. He was more
Hmm.
like, am I holding you back?
Yeah.
Which was like,
Hmm.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
That's love. That's love right there,
That's
honestly. Like,
love. No, honestly,
yeah.
very like again, I don't know if they're the perfect couple, but it's healthy. It's healthy.
Okay,
Uh, Is she?
I obviously it's healthy, but then it can go too far. Like, I don't know, but personally, okay, to me, this movie kind of represents, and the third kind of like chapter or like third phase of the movie where Haesung is coming to visit New York, it kind of represents what getting closure is like while you're in a relationship. You know, because oftentimes people get closure before entering a new relationship. They're kind of like, let me close that chapter out and then start something new. You don't see a lot of getting closure years after you've moved on, And I mean, first of all, the ability to kind of fully cry it out, think it out, like all of the things like Nora and Haesung have been doing in my head, if she was single and she was trying to get past him, like it makes total sense. Like they're talking about, we could have been like this, all those things I personally would have done before entering a new relationship. I could not possibly imagine doing it while my husband is like actively observing me cry about mourning something that didn't happen.
Okay, I have two thoughts. First,
Yeah.
very profound, but
Mm.
look, the first thing is that I wanted to say was that, like, to add to the idea about how secure she is in her relationship with Arthur, like, like you said, I would, if it were me, I would hide from those emotions. I would be like, I'm not gonna see him. I'm in a relationship right now. But she's so secure in her relationship with her husband that she was not afraid to hang out with him, explore,
Mhm.
talk, invite him. Like, so I think that if she did doubt herself, she wouldn't have had the courage to find the closure. Because if she didn't trust herself, I mean, I'm not saying any person, because people do crazy stuff, but
Yeah.
the way Nora is her character, I feel like if she was worried she would do something romantic with him, she wouldn't have even seen him. So that
Mm.
reflects how comforted and secure she is in her relationship with Arthur. My second point.
But okay, Arthur though.
Okay.
Are we considering Arthur in this? Like, obviously they're in a marriage.
Yeah,
Maybe.
wait.
Okay,
Let me say
okay.
my point,
Yes,
and then
yes,
okay. My second
yes.
point. I don't think she feels anything romantic for Haesung. Maybe she did when she was 11, but after they even correct the first like chapter 2 and chapter 3, I think for her again it was more like he represented her whole past life. He is her past life. By the way, I didn't plan on
Mhm.
saying that. That just came out, which I'm
Oh,
very
that's
proud
so
of.
interesting.
He he is her past life, I think. Does he? I think this is more because I'm a girl. I'm having trouble seeing it from Haesung's point of view. I think Haesung would have hooked up with her if she was down, but maybe
Mm,
I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
mm,
But from Nora's POV, I really don't think she was in love with him. I'm sure she loved him in a platonic way, but I think that for her, talking to him, reminiscing with him, I felt like she was reconnecting with her heritage. And again, yeah, with her past life. I don't think that I mean for Arthur, of course this would not be clear. It's not clear in plain sight. And I understand all of Arthur's doubts. And Arthur's doubts I don't even think are directly connected to anything romantic with Haesung. It could be, but it's also like it's more about he I think he said about not being connected to her alternate the her the like Nora as a whole, not just Nora the person that she is today as a 40-year-old woman in New York, whatever. So I think it was more him understanding where he lacks, as opposed to like as opposed to him thinking that there's another man out there that she wants to be with. I think
Mm,
he's an option. I think you can replace him with any Korean man, even a Korean man that she found in New York the same day that she didn't have this history with. Arthur would be feeling the same thing. Like,
mm,
am I not serving all the facets of you? Am I not
mm.
fulfilling you? So I think, but again, it's not obvious for Arthur.
Yeah.
With using the naked eye,
Mm.
you'd think, oh my gosh, she loves him.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for Arthur. Could she have been more transparent with him? Probably, but it's a complicated situation. But I don't think she was in love with him. I mean, come on, guys. She left when she was 11 years old. Let's come on, come on.
That's why I'm confused. Okay, okay, this is why I'm confused, right? Like
Okay.
about how hard it hit her when Haesung at the end left. Like obviously there are components of, to me, Haesung doesn't necessarily encapsulate her Korean life or past life. Her life there was limited. I think she's more American, like she lived more as an American as opposed to a Korean at that point. Like she would start to identify as her well Canadian or American
Yeah.
self. So, I mean, obviously, like, this is my take on it, but there really did not feel like there was any need to cry like that once he left because, it was just a moment. And this happened after they discussed their, like, you know, maybe another life, we could have been together, And she's like, maybe, but in this life, no, I'm with Arthur. And
Yeah.
and I have to say, I do respect, like, Haesung was, he says these things in a way, like, talks about basically his regret of not ending up with her, right? Like,
Hmm.
in a way, he's like, maybe if I had come to New York at that time, maybe we would have ended up together. But at the same time, honoring her current husband and relationship. He's like, Arthur is great. I like Arthur. He's like, he's apologizing whenever they're drifting
Hmm.
off to a one-on-one convo. He's he was remaining respectful, but at the same time, like, if I were Arthur,
Hmm.
I would not be as chill as him. Like, and again, this might be a
Valid.
reflection on me, but if my partner was completely giving their back to me and indulging in what seems like a great conversation with the person they told me they kind of were interested in before, in a different language, mind you, for I'm assuming a few hours at least.
Age of 11.
I don't know. I would not be as composed. I mean, I did think, I mean, I applaud Arthur, but also, what the heck, Nora? Like, what the
I
hell? There's a line.
honestly hadn't thought about that, but
Yeah.
I agree that I think I was really heavily focused on Nora. But honestly, now that you say that, he was not enjoying himself.
No, I mean, he kind of just was like, I'll give her her space. And I
Yeah.
love that. I wish I could be loved like that. For somebody to really be like, actually, if I'm not the best thing for you, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we all strive to love and be loved in that way, not in a
Yeah.
personal, like, oh, I love you, you're mine way, but like, if there's anything that's better for you, please go ahead. Because it is putting, like, the other person's interest and the other not necessarily interest, but like well-being. Like, when you love somebody, the ultimate sign is that you want everything
The
that's
best
great
for
for them,
them.
the best for
Yeah.
them. So if that means letting
That's
go, you let go. And I do see that from Arthur. Am I seeing that from Nora? Maybe there wasn't an opportunity for me to see that, but it didn't seem that way. Like, I don't know.
I think the reason why I didn't feel that is because I don't. I. th- I think. I thought that
Yeah.
Arthur also saw that this is more of her mourning the life that she could have had, as opposed to him being a direct threat and her being with him. I
Yeah.
think it was more sadness of like, I could never do that for her, but I don't think he was doubting his whole like, I don't think I think at the point where they were at the bar, the scene that we're talking about where she had his back to him, at that point I think it was towards the end of the movie. I don't think he was under the impression that she was going to cheat on him, on Arthur. I think he was understanding and seeing firsthand that there are some things in his life, in Nora's life, that he can never fulfill. But I don't think, if he honestly thought that there was even a small chance that she would leave him for Haesung, he would not be sitting there. I think he knows it is a childhood thing, but he said that there's nothing he can never fill that for her. I don't think he thought that she would cheat on him at that point in the movie. He would
Yeah,
not
I
sit idly by and drink.
yeah. I don't think he I again, it's like I believe that there's no kind of like cheating or anything related to infidelity happening. It's just that I guess my wish was that Nora would at least acknowledge him in that space while they were all there together. That is what's bothering me.
That's so valid. Regardless of what
Yeah.
she's mourning,
Yeah.
why would you turn your
He's
back
her
to him?
husband.
Yeah.
Like fully. It wasn't even like a halfway like her back was fully to
Yeah.
her husband.
Yeah. Wrong. That's not,
In any
yeah. That's
scenario, like
in any
especially
scenario.
in this one. In any
Yeah.
scenario, that is
He
odd.
was talking to her mother. Yeah, don't turn your full back to me.
Literally, I
Yeah.
don't know, but that bothered me, and I think that kind of left a sour taste. And then she goes ahead and cries.
She cried, but let's acknowledge she cried in her husband's arms. She's
It was
not
lovely.
crying. What? What did you
Mhm.
say?
No, I get that it's the morning, but
She's
why
not
did she
mourning
even
her
have to?
potential husband, Nicole. She's not
I,
saying like, "Oh my gosh." She's mourning herself, her alternate self, in my opinion. She is not mourning her could have been a relationship with Haesung. She's saying goodbye to Korea. She's saying goodbye to her childhood. She's like, I she can only be that person when she's with Haesung. Not with her mother, not with her
Mm,
sister. They're Americanized. He
mm.
is the last thing remaining that is from Korea from her.
You know what? That does make sense, actually. I think that is a great
Yeah.
point. Because you remember, there was a scene where she was talking to her husband and she's like, he's like really Korean. Like, she was like, I have Korean friends, but he's like really
Exactly.
Korean. Mm.
There's another side of me, but also I just one side of me is not fully me. You know, does that make sense?
Mm. No, no,
The,
yeah, for sure.
when you look at them independently, they're not fully married, but also I've never experienced all parts of me being engaged. And then even moving a little bit past that, when you think about dating, I'm like, when I've noticed, because obviously like in the workplace, which is where I spend most of my time, I don't feel I have to speak in English. Like I turn off, like, by default I do speak English. That is my default language. But what I realize, like, I don't think I dream in Amharic. I don't know. But
Mm.
when I feel a lot of emotions, whether it's like anger, happiness, shock, like when it's extreme emotion, I'm speaking Amharic.
Mm.
all the time, and I'm like this. So it's such an interesting dynamic where I really related to her at the end, where I don't have one person or one location where that I can fully embody my whole life in Ethiopia, but I there are some certain people and things like that that do make me feel like I'm kind of moving on from this side of myself, or I'm forgetting this
Mm,
side of myself, or I haven't thought about her in a long time, and things like that on both sides. And
mm,
that, for me, that's why I really related. And when she started crying, I really, like, and especially the fact that it was in her husband's arms, I knew it was not about romance. Like, it's really about. It's she's just mourning. She's mourning her past
yeah.
life. That's it. Yeah.
No, yeah. I think you helped me understand finally. And I applaud you for that. It took me two tries to understand what that scene meant.
I've actually
Um,
had arguments about this scene with different people, but they're also men, so you know how men can be.
wait, what did
But
they say? I want to know what their take was
no,
on
everybody's
this.
like, no, it's because she loved him, and
Uh,
he's the one that got away. I'm like, she
mm,
was a child. Like, I've
yeah.
said this to you before. I had crushes, crushes.
Yeah,
Like,
no, so people.
you wouldn't find me between the age of 5 and like 14 without like I would be crushing. I would be crushing, and
Yeah.
it's. I mean, okay, if you used to have a crush on them, that's something. I'm sure if I had a husband, he would be thinking about that deeply. Very valid,
Hmm.
and it's my
Mm.
responsibility to reassure him in that case. But
Yeah.
I think it's really like, I mean, they're in their 40s at this point. So it's really a matter of like, I can never be I can never be that version of myself. And I chose to let her go. But she is the
Yeah.
origin, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's the feeling of like I can never be a child again, where when life was
Yeah.
simple, when all I had to do was think about not a lot of things. Now she has to think about green card and, like culture and flying to see her parents in Toronto and, yeah, like the simplicity of it
I
all.
agree.
And Haesung
It's
embodies
several
that.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's her childhood,
Yeah.
her country, her past life, like so a lot of things. I
Mm.
totally agree with even like if you especially imagine 20
Mm.
years from now, you see your
Mm.
childhood friend for the first time.
Yeah,
That would take you straight back to elementary school.
for
And
sure.
how your issues were completely different and your joys and the way you played and you know it
That's
would I
so
totally agree with you.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like she also mentioned something when Nora and Haesung had their first Skype, he called her Nayoung, which only apparently her mom calls her, and aside from her mom, like that in itself carries an identity. Like he's the only other person who's gonna remember that version of her, and she's never gonna talk to him again. Like yeah, it's okay. You're opening it up. Like I'm understanding.
Exactly. He literally
Yeah.
calls her by the name that has literally gone extinct
No, because
in her life.
imagine like my family, my house name is Solu. Okay? And when I moved to the US, people started calling me Soli. And if I met someone who is one of the last people that called me Solu, and I had to accept the fact that like I'm gonna say goodbye to them for a very long time, it's kind of like saying goodbye to that version of my life.
Precisely.
Soul is going away with that person. And that
Yeah,
actually
like
made me
she
sad.
stayed there. Yeah.
Yeah. It actually hurt me a little bit when I thought about it. Would I cry? Potentially, actually, yes. Yeah, very likely.
If
Hmm.
you didn't process it.
Yeah, if I didn't process it, yeah,
If
for
you never
sure.
processed it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's never gone back to Korea.
Yeah, I mean, she
Since she
went with
left.
her husband once.
Did she?
She did once, but I I don't think they pointed it out as a very significant thing.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I mean, when you go back with a partner who's not originally from there, I think it's a different experience altogether. No?
Yeah, of
Like
course, I'm
compared to even
sure.
just visiting compared to living in itself is very different.
I had the ultimate identity crisis
Yeah.
when the first time I went back,
Hmm.
and I was like fully going as a tourist. Like, I like
Yeah.
we no longer had a home there.
Yeah.
I had, I mean, like it. Yeah, so it's and even while I was there, when I was engaging with people, like even new people that I met there,
Hmm. Hmm.
that were Ethiopian, that I could like walk around the streets with, and I felt safe and everything. I again, I felt like there was a part of me that was being active. Like, you've seen Inside Out, right? The film.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know when they're like different, like I don't know
Country.
what they called them, but like different like home bases basically. Like you have like there was the family one, and she used to play hockey. She had a hockey thing, and it's
Yeah.
like it was like something a facet of my life that hadn't been
Mm.
activated, you know. And
Mm.
so I feel that. So okay, question:
Yes.
Do you think? What do you think about couples from different countries?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. So, yeah, I do believe this movie highlights it, and actually a very important thing it kind of mentions or touches on is especially if you're from different countries that have different languages, right? Or
Mm.
culturally different, like very different, you won't fully know that person. And obviously, any person you can only know as far as they'll let you, right? Like even if we talk the
Correct.
same, like spoke the same language, had the same cultural background, like you can only know me as much as I'll let you. So
Correct.
that's a given, but if I were to marry somebody from a different country, I truly would not know what language they would dream in. I don't know the inside, I would never understand the inside jokes they make with their families. I would not know the significance of like a specific food that they're eating. And if I'm being completely honest, it would make me feel like there is a bit of a gap that I will never be able to fill. And it would make me doubt myself more than I'd like to admit. Yeah, I would be like, do you really, really think, or they might think this, and you're like, you could find
Yeah.
somebody who understands these things, who can share these like more intimate things that I potentially might not ever be able to share with you. And it does make me wonder a lot of like, it's hard, like,
Right. And I think one of the things that
mhm,
I love about any movie is when it's like honestly like a fair reflection of life. When it's accurate. Like
mm,
for
yeah,
example, like this movie, amongst other things, it's a very realistic version of like when it comes to is it interracial, intercultural, whatever couples.
mm,
Um, it it can work. Like again, I've already said they have a very strong bond.
hmm,
I think a very strong relationship, Nora and Arthur. But at the same time, it shows the very real issues that can come up,
hmm,
and but simultaneously show how they can get through it together
yeah,
by being, by having empathy, by, having open lines of communication, judgment free, all of those things. It is possible, So I love how it shows both of them in a very
Mm-hmm.
blatant way. So that's one of
Yes,
my favorite things about this movie,
for
where
sure.
personally, like I'm very open to it, but in my limited experience, it can feel limiting, where I'm like,
Yes.
but at the same time, it is a relationship. It's not politics, right? It's a
Yeah, yeah.
relationship where ultimately, if you're good people and you love each other and you put in the work, again, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be more work. But if that's your person, that's your person, and that's
No,
okay. But
yeah,
I like how it kind of didn't take a side, where it's like you
yeah.
can
Mm-hmm.
totally have a wonderful time, but you're gonna face a lot of adversity, and if you're willing to put in the
Yes,
work, you can put in the work. So it's
for
balanced,
sure.
which is interesting. But
Mm.
personally, man, obviously I don't want to. I prefer less work than more work.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But like again, this has actually educated me and showed me that it's possible.
It's
So
possible.
I
Yeah.
that's something I appreciate about this movie.
Connection is connection. People fall in love and they don't even know how to communicate. They don't speak a common language.
Like Ed Sheeran said, people fall in love in mysterious ways.
Wow, very profound. It's like quoting Aristotle. So, so good.
Exactly.
So good.
He is Aristotle, bro. In
Yeah,
our
yeah,
house in Fox,
yeah.
Ed
He was. He was.
is the king.
He was a philosopher. He was a
He was
philosopher.
a philosopher. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but sorry, I made a
wow.
joke in your
Mm,
import in what you were saying, but
yeah.
you're right. It's about, in fact, yeah, you trying to striving, making unnecessary strides to stay within your culture might put you in a relationship that you're not supposed to be in.
Yeah,
So
for
if
sure.
if you take one thing away from this movie is that if you put in the work, you put in the work. You can do it.
Yeah. And have a healthy relationship. I honestly, Mary, I have to say, when I first watched this movie, I completely did not understand it. A lot of people said they cried, they felt things. I was like, I felt none. I actually was mad at the ending. Second time I watched it, I guess I was able to empathize with the characters a bit more. Especially Arthur. I feel like I had a feeling he was being a pushover for whatever reason. I did appreciate their healthy relationship, but it felt like he was a bit of a pushover to me. But after talking it out with you and, your very amazing, views and takes on this movie, I kind of like it. Like I'm prepared to say I understand. Like I do think that you kind of mentioned principles I should be applying to my life as well. Really. And I guess I'm starting to understand the significance of the movie. Like, I thought the initial significance was past lives, like,
The one that
wow,
got
what could have been.
away.
Yeah, what could have
Yeah.
been. But it is actually a movie about understanding and finding your person, not in what you necessarily think you would, And
Yeah.
really understanding and how being loved in the right way looks like even. I think I take it as far as saying this movie shows you how to be loved in the right way, you
I
know?
agree. And that
Yeah.
also hit me after I watched the movie. I was
Mm.
like, I told you first, I was like, did she just marry him out of convenience? Like, was she just
Yeah.
running out of time?
Mm-hmm.
But with time, after I processed, I was like, I also felt like he was being a pushover, especially at the bar.
Yeah.
But I
Mm.
was like, after I watched that, I was like, okay, I want to believe that at that point in time, because they already had like the open conversation. I'm
Yeah.
like, I think he understood what he represents,
Mm.
and that he has faith in his wife that she wouldn't do anything. And even when he hugged her, and like honestly, if my husband says goodbye to his female friend, and then comes, even if it's totally platonic,
Yeah.
and comes to me and starts crying,
Yeah. I would kind of lose
you
my
think
mind
I'm
a little.
a carpet?
Yeah.
Like what? Like what? Are
Yeah.
you
Am I
joking?
clown? Yeah.
That's not. That's what I'm saying. But I think it because but that would be my ego speaking. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but also, maybe he's, whatever. In this situation though, it takes so much strength for me to comfort my husband when mourning a past friendship, a past identity, childhood, all that kind of stuff. Because I would be like, am I not enough for you?
Yeah.
So honestly, Arthur is the star of the show. No,
Yeah.
but I have a
No,
greater
he's strong.
appreciation for Arthur, a greater
Mm-hmm.
appreciation. But ultimately, with a lot of thinking, the film is about Nora, her
Mm-hmm.
healthy relationship, her childhood, and her past life. It's not really about Hae Sung. He's an interesting character, but it's not really about Hae Sung, and it's not really about Arthur. It's really about her. It's an immigrant story, and it's just
Mm.
about her navigating her life.
Mm.
It can look like a romantic thing, but honestly, the more I think about it, Arthur, wow, no, Arthur is he should teach a class.
Mm. He definitely should.
All right, so my last question for you: who do you think should watch this? Who would you recommend this to?
I think, honestly, people who have been in at least one relationship should watch this. That is my
Okay.
because or who are a bit more grown, I guess, or had the ability to observe relationships in a deeper, more like in-depth way. Um, because I think at the time that I first watched this movie, I kind of was like, mhm, you know,
Yeah.
had this very young, very idealistic way of, like thinking about relationships. I'm like, if it was black or white,
Hmm.
I was like, if this happens, then obviously this is what it means. But I guess with more time and more experience, you kind of see like again, I was still lacking. After what, how many years later? 3 years later, I still did not fully understand. And like it would take a second, but I think people with more experience in that aspect, people, you don't necessarily need to be an immigrant, but like I think it would appeal to people who had to immigrate to the US or even out of the US, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd recommend to that audience. What about you?
I concur with what you said, but in addition, just even in a local sense, within the same state, within the same country, within the same continent, like
Mm-mm.
when you like leave your hometown, for example,
Yes.
and you go to a completely different environment, whether it's like an intentional, like I don't want to be that person anymore, or more maybe you're going for a career or something else, and you're in a different environment. When it comes, if you've left basically where you've lived initially, or whether or not it's a person that moved away, like if you're on Haesung's perspective, and that person had a big influence on you, maybe it's a parent or a sibling or something like that. I think it's really about taking time to look back and process kind of the decisions that you made and who you are now. And it's okay to revisit it. It's okay to I mean, it's okay. There's no perfect journey. And I think it is a matter of looking back and reflecting, really. And then, of course, especially if you've waited as long as Nora, it could come out in an emotional burst.
Yeah.
But in general, I think that's kind of the specifics of it. But again, the more I'm reflecting on Arthur, it's just a good lesson of a healthy relationship and a person that has his ego so in check that he can support your your spouse um mourning an alternate life that is not the one that you share with them. That is very, I don't think I could do that. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's
At this
very
point in time,
strong.
I don't have that, but I hope God gives
Yeah.
me that ability. But you know, the more Mary, I don't know, like this is why this is great. This is why we love like reviewing movies because
Yeah.
we both have interesting takes and like the more I'm thinking about how you open up my mind to like this really is it's not a movie about love. It's a movie about identity.
Yeah.
It really is it has nothing to do with love. It's a movie about identity
Yes.
and the evolution of identity, basically. Wow. I love
It's
this so
not
much.
really
This
about
makes
romance. Actually, the
yeah,
only
at all.
romance part comes from Arthur.
Yeah, Arthur. And that's a
Yeah.
small it's really just Nora's
It's about
identity. It
Nora.
starts,
Yeah.
yeah, her leaving her name behind, leaving her country, leaving her culture slowly. And whoa, brother. Me, I am very stunned. Wow.
It's a good one. It's such a good
It's
one.
I didn't even like it this much when I just finished watching it. Like now I see myself in Nora, which was not something I did initially. Now I see myself in
I
Nora.
really, really see myself in Nora, honestly.
Wow. Snap, 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 Mary. You ate this down. And I love when this happens. Oh my God.
I
This is why we started
know.
this pod.
This is
Wow,
why we
no.
started the pod. And I hope other people also feel that like the
Mm,
or can agree or even see a different view. But
mm,
honestly, it is the main character and the only main character is Nora.
yeah.
And doesn't the crying make more sense now at the end?
It really no it now I was
Yeah.
initially so mad at her, but it makes so much sense. Like it's justified now, which is crazy. I would have
Yeah.
never thought that way. Well. Hmm.
It's a good one. It's a good one. We you picked this movie. You ate with
I,
it. And
bro,
I
I
think
picked it
we
because I
broke
was
it
like,
down
yeah.
effectively.
I mean, yeah, you ate it. Wow. Now I'm gonna go cry. Like, I need to rewatch this again for the third time.
I honestly might rewatch it.
Yeah, no,
I honestly
literally. I
might.
think
Yeah.
I will soon. Wow. Wow. So now with this newfound perspective, Mary, I think I'm gonna ask you, we can do our ratings together if you're good to wrap up.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, I have to think though.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to
Because
10.
I mean, as the content,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. The
As in,
style, again,
mm,
I like action and drama
yeah,
and not literally action movies,
politics,
but like I like
drama.
fast movements.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um
Mm,
Overall, right? Um I'm ready overall.
okay, okay. Me too.
Okay, ready?
Okay. Okay. 3.
After one, okay?
Yeah,
Three, two, one,
9.2.
87.
Oh,
Oh, you mean
92.
92? Okay.
Yeah, 92. 9 point. I was like thinking on
I was like,
a, and I
did you
want to
hate
tell. I don't
it?
want to tell. Yeah. Ah, okay, that's fair.
Okay.
I think once the message hit me, because if you asked me literally 2 hours ago, I would have given this movie like maybe like an 82. But now understanding and like I can see myself in the character and like I was empathizing with Arthur, but I can empathize with Nora now and Hey Song to a degree, I guess.
It's also like he is her past life, you know? He's also,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Lovely,
that was
lovely
great.
episode.
That was great.
That was a
Well,
good one.
thank you again, Mary, for I'm gonna have a lot to
Thank
think about
you.
tonight. I'm gonna have a lot to think about tonight. So thank you a lot for that. But um
My absolute pleasure, sis.
yes.
But
Yeah,
it was we need to be more consistent, bro. I've
we
just
do.
had a
We do.
wonderful hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. That was wonderful.
Um, yes. Anywho's, thank you all so much for listening if you made it to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And please stay tuned for the future episodes. Please leave comments. Do you agree with us? Do you still think
Yes.
it's ultimately about romance? Let
Mm,
us know,
yeah, in the
and we'll catch
comments.
you next time.
Yeah, bye guys.